If you ever want to feel truly invisible, try being the unemployed adult child in a family where your sister has 3 kids, a husband who calls himself a crypto advisor, and a mom who still signs her texts with love and light dizzy. I didn't plan to move back in with my parents. It wasn't some 20-something cliche about finding myself or saving money for my startup. No. I'd just been laid off from my warehouse job after the company downsized, again. And after a string of interviews that all ended with, "We'll be in touch," I ended up back in my childhood bedroom, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars still taped to the ceiling and wondering where the hell I'd gone wrong. The deal was simple: stay here rent-free while I got back on my feet. Or so I thought. Because on day 6, after I made the tragic mistake of sleeping in past 8 a.m., I found a sticky note on my bedroom door. It read, in my mom's cheerful cursive, "We need to talk, smiling face with smiling eyes. Family meeting at 9. Ah yes. The famous family meetings. Otherwise known as, everyone gangs up on you but pretends it's love. I came downstairs in sweatpants and socks with a hole in the heel. My dad was sipping coffee like a CEO about to make budget cuts. My mom had her yoga mat out like she needed to ground herself before ruining my morning. And my sister Olivia? She was already mid-rant, with her youngest child screaming in the background because he couldn't bring a live frog inside. "Okay," Mom said, smiling like a cult leader. "Let's talk about how we can all support each other during this time." Translation: "Let's assign you unpaid labor under the illusion of community." My dad jumped in. "You've been here a while, but 6 days?" I muttered. "Right. And we know you're recalibrating," he said, as if I was a malfunctioning thermostat. "But your sister really needs help. And since you're not working right now..." There it was. The setup. Mom chimed in. "Olivia is juggling 3 little ones, her Etsy shop, and a very important partnership with an influencer who promotes her handmade toddler overalls. She needs support." I blinked. "And? You can stay here rent-free," Dad said, "as long as you help Olivia with the kids. From 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday." I looked around the table, expecting someone, anyone, to start laughing. To say, "Kidding. You're not actually being asked to work a 66-hour week as an unpaid nanny while you look for a job." But nope. They were serious. Dead serious. And Olivia? She just raised her eyebrows like I'd been granted some holy mission. They're good kids. Just energetic. Energetic. That was one word for it. Last time I watched her twins for 20 minutes while she ran to Target. One of them locked me in the pantry, and the other one threw a bag of flour down the stairs like it was a snowball fight. And now they wanted me to do this every day? For what? The honor of staying in a room that still smelled like Axe body spray and regret? I cleared my throat. "So let me get this straight. I live here, and in exchange I become your full-time free childcare provider?" "You make it sound transactional," Mom said, deeply offended by the suggestion that free labor was, in fact, free labor. Olivia just shrugged. "It's not forever. Just until I land a few more brand deals. And maybe while we finish the new patio. And I'm trying for a 4th, so..." My soul left my body. That night, I packed a duffel bag quietly. No dramatic exits. No speech about boundaries. No slamming doors or quoting labor laws. Just me, my stuff, and a mental note that said, "Never let anyone treat survival like a debt they're owed." I left before dawn. Left a note on the fridge that said, "Thanks for the opportunity. I decline." And just like that, I was gone. I didn't know exactly where I was going. But I knew one thing. Better broke and free than trapped in a house where I was expected to sing the ABCs with applesauce in my hair. The first message came in before noon. "Mom, hope you're just out getting some air." Olivia's morning was a little intense. "Give us a call. Love and light dizzy." I didn't reply. Part of me thought maybe they'd get the message. But then I remembered who I was dealing with. These were the same people who once forgot. to pick me up from high school because Olivia's gluten-free muffins had gone viral. They were trending under hashtag #OatRising. I walked 6 miles home in the rain. My dad said, "That's resilience." By 4 p.m., the second text arrived. "Olivia. Hey. Can you come tomorrow instead? Milo put Play-Doh in the Roomba and now it's just smearing color everywhere." Still, I said nothing. The funny thing about silence? People project onto it. And judging by their texts, panic was starting to creep in. By the end of day 1, I had 5 missed calls, 2 voicemails, and 1 accidental selfie from my mom showing Olivia in the background with a toddler hanging from her hair like it was a vine. I spent that night on a friend's pull-out couch. No AC, 1 squeaky fan, and a window that didn't open all the way. My pillow was a couch cushion that smelled like Doritos and broken dreams. And I still slept like royalty. No baby monitors. No passive-aggressive to-do lists taped to the fridge. No 7 a.m. wake-up calls from a 4-year-old holding a stick of butter like a lightsaber. Just silence. Day 2? That's when things really escalated. The first voicemail was from my dad, which was unusual. He only texted in one-word responses or gifs of people face-palming. "Hey, so things got a bit wild here. Your mom's trying to manage, but yeah? Call us when you can." I imagined him standing in the hallway, whispering into the phone like the kids were rabid raccoons who could smell fear. Around 11 a.m., the phone rang again. I didn't pick up, but the voicemail came through with crystal clarity. It was my mom. She was trying to sound calm. "Hi honey, I know you're probably just taking time to yourself, which is wonderful and healthy. But if you happen to be free later, we'd love to chat. We're just reevaluating some of the family support dynamics." Family support dynamics. That's a new one. Translation: we're knee-deep in glitter and regret. That afternoon, I got a FaceTime call. From my niece. Or that's what the contact name said. But when I picked it up, all I saw was a shaky, chaotic view of a living room that looked like it had survived a tornado made of cereal dust, Legos, and sticky things that science can't identify. The camera flipped, and there was Olivia. Hair in a bun held up by a plastic fork. One child screaming. One child sobbing. One child quietly coloring on the wall behind her. She held up the phone like it was a hostage video. "Listen," she said. "I might have underestimated how much the kids adore you." A crash. Then a scream. Then a blur of what might have been a juice box flying through the air. "Please. Come back. I'll pay you. I'll Venmo. I'll buy you a burrito. You can sleep until noon. I'll even let you use my car. Please just." The screen shook violently. The camera spun. Suddenly, the phone was in the hands of her toddler, covered in purple marker, bits of Rice Krispies in his eyebrows. He held it up, face close, eyes wide, and screamed into the mic. "Qley. Why poop is orange." Then it disconnected. I stared at the screen for a moment. A normal person might have felt bad. But me? I laughed so hard I almost dropped my cereal. Again. Because for the first time in I don't even know how long, I wasn't the one cleaning up everyone else's mess. And based on the voicemail I got 10 minutes later, they were just getting started. By day 2's evening, the text volume reached code red. I had 14 unread messages, 3 voicemails, and a blurry photo from my mom of Olivia standing in what appeared to be a puddle of yogurt. The caption simply read, "We're all doing our best." And just below that, "Please come home." Home. That word made my jaw tighten. Because here's the thing about home. It's not just 4 walls and a roof, it's how those walls make you feel. And mine? They made me feel like I owed everyone something, just for existing. I scrolled through the messages while lying on the couch I was now calling my bed. No sheets, just a hoodie as a blanket. And still, I felt lighter than I had in months. My friend Jonah walked in, holding 2 gas station burritos like a prize. "You get another FaceTime poop alert?" he asked. I grinned. "Worse. They tried guilt." He tossed me a burrito. Classic. I bit into it and nearly chipped a tooth. Worth it. That night, I got the first real voicemail from Olivia. No fake calm. No sugarcoating. Just tired mom, worn out sister, and probably someone with dried applesauce in her shoes. Okay. I get it now. I do. You weren't just helping out before. You were holding the whole operation together. And I didn't see it. None of us did. Please. Can we talk? I'll pay you, I swear. I sat up. That voice, I hadn't heard her sound like that since we were teenagers, when we both got grounded for sneaking into a midnight movie and she tried to take the blame. It sounded real. For a second, just a second, I imagined going back. Not to be the nanny. But to fix it. To help. Because that's what I've always done. I stared at the screen like it might answer for me. But then, the memories came back. Last Thanksgiving, she'd begged me to watch the kids for an hour while she went to get just a few last-minute groceries. I agreed, stupidly, assuming she meant an actual hour. She was gone for 6. In that time, the twins decided crayons tasted better than turkey. The youngest threw my phone into the toilet, and at one point I had to Google if pickle juice could get permanent marker out of human skin. She came back with 2 Target bags, a Starbucks cup, and a new haircut. Oh, she said. I got distracted. You're a lifesaver. A lifesaver. That day, I swore I'd never babysit for her again. But then came the guilt. He's not doing anything anyway. Comments. You live here rent-free. Reminders. The look in my mom's eyes like I owed them for simply letting me breathe under their roof. So yeah? That voicemail? It wasn't new. It was just louder this time. And maybe slightly more yogurt-soaked. But the words were the same. We need you. Please come back. You're part of the family. Family. God, I loved that word. But in my house, family always meant you suffer quietly while we pretend it's love. Later that night, Olivia sent a Venmo request. $40. 00. Caption. For gas if you want to Uber here. I laughed so hard I almost choked on my rock-hard burrito crust. But it didn't stop there. 5 minutes later, Mom texted. If you come back, we'll give you the big bedroom. Dad can sleep in the office for now. 3 minutes after that. And I made those muffins you like, the banana ones with the crunchy top. Then, we'll even let you pick the next family movie. We'll all watch it this time. I didn't reply. Instead, I screenshotted the Venmo request, added the caption, "For what? Emotional damages," and posted it to my story. Petty? Maybe. But after years of being their doormat, being petty felt like finally getting a full meal after eating scraps. By day 3, the tone shifted. They weren't asking anymore. They were demanding, but with that classic passive-aggressive flavor only my family could serve. The first call came at 7:12 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. You know, not everyone gets to live rent-free these days, Mom said sharply. You should be grateful we even offered. I raised an eyebrow mid-bite of my cold gas station breakfast sandwich. Grateful? For being offered unpaid labor in exchange for floor space in a room that still had my 6th grade soccer trophies? Right. The second voicemail was from Olivia, and she was done pretending. I don't care if you're mad. You left. In the middle of everything. Without warning. Milo flushed half a roll of quarters down the toilet, and now the plumber's quoting me $600. That's your fault. Mine? Did I possess the child? Was I the one who told him to go full casino jackpot on the plumbing? Then came the kicker. If you don't come back, don't expect this family to be here for you when you need something. Ah, there it was. The emotional blackmail stage. Right on schedule. This was a familiar pattern. When guilt stopped working, they'd move on to threats. If threats failed, they'd circle back to pity. Like clockwork. And I knew the pity stage was coming soon, because that afternoon, my dad texted for the first time in years with actual full sentences. Look, your mom's a wreck. Olivia hasn't slept. The kids miss you. Just talk to them. Be the bigger person. Ah, yes. Be the bigger person. Family code for. Just give in again so we don't have to. That night, Jonah and I sat on his tiny patio, watching the sunset through a crack between two rundown apartment buildings. I showed him the messages. He took a long sip of his soda and said, "They're unraveling. You can smell the desperation." I chuckled, but it wasn't just funny anymore, it was familiar. Too familiar. All my life, I'd been the fixer. The filler. The one they turned to when their perfect golden child system sprung a leak. When Olivia forgot a school project? I did it. When she didn't want to do chores? I did hers too. When she needed a last-minute babysitter because her mommy brunch ran long? Guess who canceled his plans? Me. Every time. Because you're the flexible one, Mom used to say. You can handle it. Translation. We can pile on more and you won't complain, not loud enough for the neighbors to hear anyway. But now, I wasn't picking up. And they couldn't handle it. At 9:46 p.m., Olivia tried again. A new tactic. She sent me a photo of the twins asleep on the couch, faces smeared with marker, one of them holding a half-eaten frozen waffle like it was a teddy bear. They miss you, she wrote. They keep asking why you're not here. She followed it up with a voice message of her youngest whispering, "Uncle? Come home?" I'll admit. It hit me. Right in the ribs. Because it's not the kids' fault. They didn't ask for this mess. They didn't build this twisted system of guilt and obligation. They were just in it. Like I'd been once. For a second, a real second, I thought about it. About going back. Not for Olivia. Not for my parents. But for them. For the little ones who never chose any of this. But then my phone buzzed again. A follow-up text from Mom. If you cared at all about this family, you'd stop being so selfish. And just like that, second over. I knew something was coming. The shift was in the tone. Less guilt. More pleading. A little too quiet. Like when kids go suspiciously silent, and you just know something's been drawn on the walls. At 11:03 a.m. my phone buzzed. It was a text from my neighbor back home, a guy I barely knew, but he mowed his lawn like clockwork and had binoculars for bird watching that just so happened to point directly at our driveway. Neighbor Ron. Your mom's outside. Been knocking for a while. Looks serious. Oh no. I peeked out Jonah's window just in case. No sign. But 5 minutes later? There was a knock at his door. I froze mid-spoonful of cereal. Jonah looked at me like, "Don't you dare move." The knock came again. And then, "Honey? Are you in there?" "It's just me. I brought muffins." I'm out to Jonah. "Are you serious right now?" "She brought the damn banana muffins." I didn't answer. Neither did he. We both just sat there like statues while my mom stood outside, holding warm emotional manipulation in a Tupperware container like it was a peace offering. Eventually she left. But she wasn't done. At 3 p.m., Olivia sent a new voice memo. Her voice was raspy, exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. "I don't blame you for being mad. I'd be mad too. But we're drowning here, and Mom's trying to keep everything together, and I just..." Glass shattered in the background. She gasped. "Put the scissors down! They are not for haircuts!" Then the mic muffled, followed by chaos, screaming, crying, something that sounded suspiciously like a dog barking from inside a cabinet. "I gotta go," she muttered. "Please. Just think about it." The message cut out. And for the first time in days I didn't laugh. I didn't feel petty or smug. I just felt done. Like I'd hit emotional bankruptcy. Because none of this was new. It was the same cycle, just with more glitter and juice boxes. I sat there for a while, staring at the wall. Thinking. About how they only apologized when I was useful. About how family only mattered when it meant free help. About how they never once asked how I was doing. Only what I could do for them. And then I remembered something small, something stupid. 2 years ago, I got sick. Real sick. Fever, chills, couldn't eat, couldn't move. I was in bed for 3 days, and not a single one of them brought me soup. Or texted. Or checked in. Meanwhile, when Olivia sprained her ankle stepping off a curb, you'd think she survived a plane crash. She had foot pillows, a bell to summon help, and Dad literally carried her plate to the couch like she was royalty. That was the pattern. That was always the pattern. At 7:41 p.m., Olivia tried one more time. This time, with a video. The camera panned across the living room. The walls were covered in marker. The couch cushion was missing. A trail of shredded paper led into the kitchen, where one child was standing on the counter pouring syrup directly onto a laptop. Another was chasing the dog, now shaved in patches, while yelling, "Stop moving, I'm making you a princess." In the middle of it all, their youngest stood holding a sign. A hand-drawn crayon sign that read, "Come back, Uncle." Except the U was backwards and the K looked like an R. He waved. Then sneezed. Directly onto the phone. The screen went blurry. I reflexively wiped my phone screen. Even though it wasn't live. Then Olivia's voice cut in, breathless. "Please. Just tell us what you want. Anything. We'll do it. Just tell us how to make this right." I stared at the video for a long time. A minute passed. Then another. I almost replied. But then I remembered how it always ended, with me cleaning the mess, and then pretending I never did. So instead I finally typed one line. "Start by respecting the word no." And hit send. After I hit send, it was quiet. No reply. No follow-up call. Not even a guilt-tripping bubble. And for a moment, I thought maybe that was it. Maybe, finally, they understood. But I knew better. With my family, silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. The calm before they pivoted to their next weapon, pity theater. And sure enough, by noon the next day, it started trickling in. First, a group message from Mom titled, "Family Love Red Heart." An album of sweet photos, baby Olivia and me in the sandbox. A blurry pic of us at a petting zoo, a grainy shot of me holding one of her kids, covered in baby food and pride. No caption. Just nostalgia. Then the text. "I know we've made mistakes. But family sticks together, even when things get hard. That's what love means." I rolled my eyes so hard I almost sprained something. Love doesn't mean servitude. Or guilt. Or being everyone's emotional punching bag with a smile. Still, I didn't reply. And that's when it got quiet again, for a full day. No calls. No pings. No toddlers screaming into FaceTime. Just silence. And I started thinking maybe, just maybe, they were finally taking me seriously. That was, until Jonah walked into our tiny apartment kitchen holding his phone like it was radioactive. Bro. He turned the screen toward me. It was a Facebook post. From my mother. Public. Full essay. Caption. "When your heart breaks because someone you love walks away, you bake. You clean. You pray. And you wait." Below was a picture of a sad muffin tray. A tray of banana muffins. With a candle in the middle. Comments were rolling in. "Sending hugs, broken heart. Kids can be so selfish these days. You deserve better, Queen." Jonah looked up. "She just called you a prodigal son in banana bread form." I snorted. Classic. Full sympathy campaign. The next day, Dad texted. "No fluff. No poetry. Mom's not doing well. Olivia says you've made your point. Come home. We'll make adjustments." Adjustments? Like I was a thermostat. But still, that line made me pause. Not because I was moved. Because it confirmed they didn't understand at all. They still thought this was about terms. That I was holding out for a better deal. A softer mattress. Fewer diapers. Not once had they said, "We were wrong." Not once had anyone asked why I left. Only when I'd come back. That evening, I got an idea. I opened my phone. Typed out a message to Olivia. "I'll stop by tomorrow. 20 minutes. No kids. Just you and me, she replied instantly. Yes. Thank you. Seriously. I'll make coffee. Next morning, I arrived right on time. She opened the door looking like she hadn't slept in a week. Eyes puffy. Shirt covered in crayon dust. Hair in a tangled bun with what I think was a pencil sticking out of it. We sat on opposite sides of the kitchen table. The house was eerily quiet. Probably screen time bribery. She slid me a mug and sat down. Before you say anything, she began, I want to say thank you. For everything you did. And I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I didn't value it. I let it become expected. She looked down at the table. I thought you'd always be around. Because you always were. I didn't interrupt. It wasn't a perfect apology. But it was more than I'd ever gotten. And it wasn't enough. We sat in silence for a moment. Me with my untouched coffee. Olivia with both hands wrapped around her mug like it was the only thing holding her together. I thought you'd always be around, she said again. I nodded slowly. I did too. Until I realized around just meant available. Not seen. Not appreciated. Just used. She winced but didn't interrupt. You called me selfish, I said. Mom called me ungrateful. But do you know what I did the night before I left? She shook her head barely. I folded all the laundry. Packed lunches. Laid out clothes. Charged the tablets. I even taped up allergy notes on the fridge for the sitter you never hired. I took a breath. I swept glitter out of the carpet, Liv. Glitter. You know what kind of emotional headspace it takes to do that at midnight? She gave a shaky, guilty smile, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to laugh. You know how I knew no one would thank me? I asked. Because no one noticed, she whispered. Exactly. I leaned back. You want honesty? She nodded. Please. You don't want me. You want help. A warm body to absorb the chaos. A pressure valve who doesn't explode. But I'm not your employee. I'm your brother. Silence. And then, to her credit, she didn't argue. Instead, she said, I think I got used to you being the one who never said no. And when you finally did, it felt like betrayal. But it wasn't. I betrayed you. That hit different. Because I wasn't used to hearing her say things like that. I looked at her. You remember my 14th birthday? I asked suddenly. She blinked. The one with the broken bike? Exactly, I said. I asked for that blue mountain bike all year. I even drew pictures. Saved up chore money. What did I get? She winced. That used one with no brakes. Because, I said, you wanted dance lessons. And they couldn't afford both. And Mom said she needs those more. He'll survive. I paused. And that's how it's always been, Liv. You need. I survive. She looked like she wanted to crawl under the table. And I did survive. I added, softer now. But I'm done with surviving. She looked up. I've called a sitter. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm trying, I swear. It's not a magic fix, but it's something. I know, I said. Because it wasn't about perfection anymore. It was about finally seeing the cracks and deciding not to keep filling them with myself. When I stood to leave, she followed me to the door. I really am sorry, she said again, quieter this time. And I get it if you don't come back. I do. I paused at the doorknob. You ever notice, I said, that when I left, everything fell apart in 48 hours? She gave a dry, sheepish laugh. Yeah. I noticed. I turned to her one last time. I'm not coming back as your free labor, I said. But I'll be around. As your brother. If you want that. She nodded. No big speech. No hugging montage. Just a nod. That was enough. As I stepped out, I passed the kids' playroom. One of them had drawn another crayon sign, taped above the toy bin. Hi, Uncle! Spelled right this time. Underlined. 3 exclamation points. And this time? No marker on the walls. No sticky waffle stuck to the ceiling. Just one of the twins peeking out from behind a beanbag, waving at me, silently. I smiled. Waved back. Just that. No guilt. No pressure. Just a real moment. Back at Jonah's, I dropped onto the couch. He looked up from his laptop. So, I said, cracking open a soda. I finally said it. He raised an eyebrow. All of it? Every word. I took a long sip, leaned back, and let it all go. Finally. He nodded. So, muffins didn't fix it, huh? I laughed. Not even close. And for once, there was no next crisis waiting. Just quiet. And peace. It's been a few weeks. No dramatic returns. No sudden emotional ambushes. Just quiet. And that's been new. Not the eerie kind. Not the manipulative kind. Just regular silence. Peaceful. Like the volume finally turned down on a TV that had been blaring 24/7 in my head for years. Olivia still texts, but sparingly. Short stuff. Thanks again, here. A photo of the twins not covered in Sharpie. One even had a helmet on. Progress. She doesn't push. Doesn't hint. Doesn't guilt. She's learning, I guess. Jonah and I even joked about it the other night. If she ever sends muffins again, he said, I'm burning this apartment down. Agreed, I replied. We treat banana bread like an eviction notice now. Then, last Saturday, I got a text. From my mom. Which was rare. Mom. Hi. I understand if you don't want to reply. But I wanted to say thank you. For everything. Even the things we didn't see at the time. There was more. You were always there. And we took that for granted. That's on us. I hope we get to start over someday. And then, like clockwork, 5 minutes later. Mom. Also, do you remember the Amazon password? The account says support ended and we can't log in. I stared at my screen. Out loud I said, You've got to be kidding me. Jonah turned. What? I handed him the phone. He read the second message. And just started laughing. Loudly. Dude, she gave you closure and a tech support request in the same breath. I know. She really said we love you. Now fix our Prime Video. I shook my head, trying not to smile. It's poetic, honestly. And yeah, maybe old habits die hard. But I didn't reply. I didn't snap or guilt trip. I just forwarded her the password reset page. And added one line. Support ended. Permanently. I haven't heard back since. But I did check the login history later that night. They figured it out. Of course they did. People do, when they stop expecting someone else to carry the mess for them. The next morning, Olivia sent me a video. One of the twins, the same one who used to scream like a fire alarm, holding up another sign. This one said, Thank you, Uncle. With a drawing underneath. Me. Holding a shield. Deflecting what looked like spaghetti? I couldn't stop laughing. Jonah looked over. What's this? Apparently, I'm a warrior now. He nodded. You kinda are. And just like that, the story didn't end with a fight. It didn't end with applause either. It ended with a pause. A boundary. And a crayon scribbled, Thank you that, for once, didn't come with a job attached.